Today I'm going to create a link to a MySql server. I will have MySql in the background as the application server, and I will link it to the front end, which will be Microsoft Access. Before I make the link, I am going to create a database called itech285, and I'm going to create a table called student with the following fields: first name, last name, date of birth, address. So I'm going to run that script in the MySql console. The script is located in C SQL, and the name of the script is student.sql. So after the script runs, it creates a table called student, and if I describe student just as I had in the file previously, you will see an ID, first name, last name, date of birth, and address. So okay, let me minimize MySql for now. I'll come back to it later to compare. Okay, the next thing I need to do after creating the table, database and the table that I'm going to link to, I will have to download and install a special piece of program that links Microsoft Access to the MySql application. So let me open my browser. And I will do a search for MySql connector. So the ODBC driver for MySql, that is what I need to download, and I will click on the download. Right, so the one I want would be the 32-bit version, because the version of Microsoft Access that I am running is a 32-bit version. So I have already downloaded this file to save time, so I will go ahead and do the installation. I will do the installation with the default settings and wait for the installation to finish. Okay, the installation is finished. So what I'm going to do is open and create a ODBC connector to the MySql database that I have created earlier. System and security, administrative tools, and I'll be looking at the ODBC data source 32-bit version, since I am using a 32-bit version of Microsoft Access. I am going to create a system DSN, a system data source name. The system data source name, with that I should be able to access it logged in as any user. So I'm going to click on add because I want to create this new link. And I'm going to look for here it is, the MySql ODBC driver. So this is this driver that will link me to MySql. Click on finished. And the server is localhost. Username is root. And there is no password. So I will test this connection. Oh, let me get the database. Alright, so the database I'm looking at is the iTech 285. So I'm going to test the connection, and the connection is successful. So this ODBC connection that I have made, ODBC connection that I have made, this DSN connection to the iTech 285 database on MySql server is successful. So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to now run Microsoft Access. I want a blank database. And I'm not going to create any table in this, but I'm going to link to external data, ODBC databases. I'm not going to import the data, but I'm going to make a link to the data itself. So I click on OK. And this is what I created earlier, the MySql connector. So that is what I'm going to link to. And you see it shows the table in the iTech 285 database, which is student. So that is the table I'm going to link to. I'll click on OK. When I open student, you will see the same fields that I created earlier, the ID, first name, last name, date of birth, and address. So I'm going to enter information in this. Now, if I check back with the MySql console and I select all the records, well, check to see if there are any records in this student table, I should get no records showing up. So it sees an empty set. There are no records in the table at present. So I'm going to add records to this table through Microsoft Access, and I'm going to check it back in MySql to ensure that the link is successful. So let's call the first name John, last name Doe, date of birth, let's say he was born on 1985, 2. And we'll give his address as somewhere, and let's enter John's sister Jane Doe. Let's say she was born on and she lives nowhere. Okay, So as you see, the ID part is automatically filled out because I set it to auto increment. And when I go back to MySQL and run the select statement again, the data that I entered through Microsoft Access shows up in the MySQL table that I created. So it means that the link between MySQL and Microsoft Access through the ODBC connector is successful.